Welcome back, guys, to CryptosRUs. I am George. It's been such a good day. I had no choice but to spin up a live stream for you guys because I can't contain myself. The overall market cap has just surpassed $1 trillion. For the first time in history, crypto's market cap has exceeded $1 trillion. And not only that, Bitcoin formed another high, $37,000. Just this morning, when I streamed, it was like 35.5, and I'm like, you know what? Just wait. It looks like it wants to break out, possibly 36, but I didn't even know that that it would go even higher to $37,000. Donnie, I appreciate that. And I did tweet about that. Like right now, anyone that is trying to short Bitcoin, they're getting wrecked. They're getting completely wrecked. I don't know. Like the whales, they still have their sell bots enabled. They really need to turn that off quickly because they're getting wrecked. The institutions are buying every single Bitcoin up. So that is why recoveries are like so quick now. So quick. And I'm going to discuss what's going on with Bitcoin, what's going on with crypto, right? I'm going to leave it looser today for you guys. It's at night. So, you know what? Let's talk Bitcoin. Let's talk Ethereum. Let's talk about Stellar. Let's talk about any other altcoin that you guys may have questions on. And let's just take it from there. Overall, I think most people are just excited. Excited about Bitcoin, excited about crypto, and I am too. So let's do this. Let's just do this. Let's get started. So as always, smash up the likes and subscribe to the channel if you are new. I live stream every day, pretty much at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and now I feel like I'm streaming twice a day because Bitcoin and crypto keeps going up and up and up and up. It's really hard to keep up these days, but it's a good thing because it's just, you know, very, very exciting right now. All right, let's take a look. What's going on overall? First, we have to look at this. Sharing my screen here. The overall crypto market cap has exceeded $1 trillion. $1 trillion. That is a major accomplishment. Back in 2017, 2018, when altcoins exploded, I can't really get that, but it was about 840-ish, I remember. 840 billion. And it's been a long journey from that 840 billion all the way down to like 100 billion. Man, it went down so much, so much. And I remember there were some dark, dark days. But you know what? We kept going. We kept going. Everything kept going. And now take a look. The latter half of 2020 and now 2021, it is going parabolic, right? Parabolic right now, not as much as 2017, 2018 yet, but it's getting there. But we're much higher now at over $1 trillion. And this is only the beginning. This is only beginning. You know, a lot of people ask about the cycle. I'm thinking this is a cycle that pretty much never ends. I don't think this cycle will end. It's very different than previous cycles. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Kevin Wolf, thank you for that large super chat. Now that America is going to become a third world country, what country do you think us Bitcoin holders should move to so we can avoid capital? You could join Peter Schiff in Puerto Rico. I think there's no capital gains tax there. So you could buy a residence right next to Schiff. He'll probably enjoy that. And then you could debate him on Bitcoin all day long. All right, so we're at $1 trillion. Mostly it's due to Bitcoin, but of course, altcoins recently have been also running up, right? And a lot of people are getting very excited. And I do think there is something to it. This could be the start of something good, and I'm going to explain why. That does not mean the goodness is coming out of Bitcoin, but I do think there could be a good chance here on out we could see more goodness, more love to the altcoins in an unexpected way that you may not be thinking about. So I do want to talk about that as well. But before I get to that, let's look at everything else. Like right now, I've been, the whole, I would say my last, at least my last 6 months? No, probably 4 months. I've been talking about how institutions are leading the way for Bitcoin right now, right? And it's not really driven by FOMO. Now, I just did a Bitcoin Google search trends just to see where things are. I don't know if this update is the last time, but it does show it's going up, but it's nowhere close. Nowhere close to getting, back to where it was in 2017, right? So this shows you that retail FOMO didn't peak yet. It's nowhere close to peaking. But while this is going up, that people are buying. I speculated that I believe the reason why Bitcoin jumps up over the weekend so fast now is because PayPal and others are replenishing their stock. Because it just makes sense that they have to replenish it at some point. And as more and more retail people get in and they want to FOMO in, right? They're buying on PayPal or Square or Robinhood, whatever. These companies have to replenish. So my theory is they're doing it over the weekend, which is why, with lighter volume, you see Bitcoin jump up in a big way during the weekends. But this week, it's only, Wednesday, and we've seen some tremendous moves upwards, and it's really, really a surprise. So, after Bitcoin has retraced a little bit under $37,000, and I'm going to explain why, but after this, I would not be surprised we wake up tomorrow to 38,000. And like I said, I honestly think we will hit 40,000 by the end of this week. And who knows where altcoins will be then. We might be looking at a $1.1, $1.2 trillion overall market cap, right? It's just insane right now what's happening. So one thing that could explain it, and I don't want to get political. There's too many people that is spreading too much FUD and hate and all this stuff around, right? But I did find this article that talks about what happened today, what's been transpiring with a lot of the protests and riots and over the votes in Georgia. But this article kind of sums it up why this is actually helping Bitcoin, MicroStrategy, and Grayscale, because Grayscale, their Bitcoin trust, continues to go higher and higher. MicroStrategy stock, I've told you guys about MicroStrategy stock as an off play. If you want to get something that's indirectly involved with Bitcoin, MicroStrategy has been on an absolute tear, even within the last week or so. And then why Bitcoin's going up, right? So obviously after the Georgia elections, the Democrats now control basically all three houses, right? Three chambers, I should say, the presidency, the House of Representatives, and the Senate. So because of that, according to this author, with the stimulus, packages that's being discussed, the one that was approved, there's still another one being approved, another one kind of being discussed, right? There's a lot of stimulus talks that's happening, and with the Democrats controlling all three branches, it's very likely that whatever gets proposed will pass, right? So because of that, the people that are fearing about inflation and fearing about the dollar devaluing even more, right? They're getting more worried, so they're buying up hedges like Bitcoin. I showed you guys this. I didn't bring it up. USD Sats. This is a perfect example. The people that are worried about their dollar basically devaluing to nothing, right? They're the ones, the big money, the smart money, the institutions, the public trade companies, whoever, smart investors, they're all worried about their dollar becoming worthless, right? So that is why Bitcoin is actually being bought up, by the truckload right now. And this is a good reminder, right? 10 years ago, you could have bought a lot more sats than you could buy today. Overall, the dollar has been devaluing itself pretty consistently, even from 1 year ago to now. If you versus Bitcoin, it's down 78%. That's pretty insane for just 1 year, right? 1 year. But if you go back 4 years, 5 years, you're talking about almost 99% right? So that's what this article is talking about. And this could be the reason why Bitcoin has been going up on a tear since Monday, Tuesday, today. And what this could mean is that going on tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, weekend, we could even see more explosiveness upwards. Kind of makes sense. Hastings, welcome. Not welcome, thank you. Through the past 3 years, BTC dip fly by just too fast. We're all proud he stuck it out regularly. Yes and no. Obviously now when people are feeling good, it feels like 3 years flew by really fast. But during the bad times, they felt bad, right? And in crypto world, everything moves like 100 miles per hour. So the bad days just felt like they lasted forever, right? But now things are going good, especially when everything keeps going like this, right? All right. So I talked about Grayscale. People are buying Grayscale left and right. So this is from yesterday. Bitcoin Trust, $19.5 billion. And it's important to note that Ethereum has been going up too. Ethereum Trust at $3.1 billion. That was yesterday. Now this is today, just got posted. Bitcoin Trust is now over $21 billion, and Ethereum Trust is now at $3.3 billion. So what does that mean? Well, Bitcoin went up about 1.5 billion. Jeez, that's a lot. Is that right? Yeah. No, that is right. $1.5 billion. That's insane for a single day, right? But not only that, Ethereum went up about 200 million, right? Now, granted, this is not like all Bitcoin and Ethereum buying. The price did go up, so this shows you the total. But you know that it's not just the price. They have been buying, and when I say they, Grayscale clients, okay? So that has been, if you've been tracking this, it's just insane how much this is going up by. Another surprise, right, is that Stellar went up huge. From 4.8 million, right, not in the billions. Stellar is not a big holding for Grayscale, but went from 4.8 to 7.8. So that's almost double. Not really. They changed 60%. I exaggerated, but it's a big jump. It's a big jump, as you can see. So it does show that institutional interest in some of these altcoins are actually increasing. Obviously, the big dog is Ethereum, but something like Stellar, maybe they're looking at it, especially since the Ukraine is looking at Stellar. Who knows? I want to talk about that a little bit too. Anyway, so as you can see, things are just going high, sky high, right? Now, I did want to mention a couple other things. Number one, I did a poll on my Twitter page today. How many Bitcoins is enough for you? I'm just curious. Obviously, the right answer is 10 plus, right? You're always striving for more. It could be 100 plus, it could be a million plus, right? Obviously, we all want as much Bitcoins as possible, but it's interesting to see that over 50%, in fact, over 60% is under 10 plus. In fact, 50% of you guys that voted said that you'll be fine between 0.28 and 5. And then you have about 12% 5 to 10 and 38% 10 plus. So that's kind of interesting. Not a lot of you guys, I guess I kind of expected a lot more of you guys to be a lot more greedy. Let's just put it that way, that you want to accumulate as much as possible because you want to be filthy rich in the future because of your Bitcoin holdings. But I guess some of you guys, you just want enough to be, part of the 1% club, right? Enough to make you a millionaire sometime. You don't have to be a gazillionaire. You don't have to be a billionaire. You just want to make enough for life-changing wealth or wife-changing wealth, whatever you're looking for, or spouse-changing wealth. Let's just put it that way. So, but I think that's pretty interesting. I honestly thought that like 80% of people would just vote 10 plus, right? Honestly, I know that if you're new to the game, to try to accumulate 10 plus now seems like impossible, right? You're paying $370,000 for 10, right? Even to get one, you're paying $37,000. I know that. I know that, right? And I'm not trying to make light of that. It is very expensive to buy Bitcoin. But my point is, going forward, whatever you're paying now is still going to be less than what it's going to be in the future. And those of you guys that have been dollar cost averaging, buying the dips, well, you were able to afford a lot more because Bitcoin was much cheaper not too long ago. So, and to also show you how many Bitcoins actually exist, or how many addresses, I should say, not how many Bitcoins exist. We know how many Bitcoins exist, but how many people are actually holding Bitcoin. I mentioned about the 1% club. I've showed you guys this before. In total, this is tracking about 33 million addresses. So honestly, there's anywhere between 5 to 10, probably, million people on this earth that own some Bitcoin. But it's probably a lot less than that. But to make things simple, let's just divide by half. So 33 million wallets. So roughly about 16.5 million people that own a wallet that holds Bitcoin. Even if you had just $1,000 worth of Bitcoin inside your wallet, there's only about like half of this number, about 2.7 million people that owns more Bitcoin than you. That's it. 2.7 million people out of 8 billion. If you had more than $10,000 worth of Bitcoin, there's only about 800,000 people that's richer than you in terms of Bitcoin. So there's actually not that many people that own Bitcoin, and not that many people that own a significant amount of Bitcoin. So even having a small amount, even if you put your $600 stimulus check in there, that would put you in the upper 1% already. Now, obviously, the more you have, the higher you will go, right? But it's kind of interesting because a lot of you guys have been in the game for a long time, right? And you may be thinking, well, everyone in the game has a billion Bitcoins, right? Like everyone is super duper rich. No, that's not the case. A lot of people just have a few. You know, they're just building up slowly, but that's okay. That's okay because they're still ahead of the game, right? So just want to give you a subtle reminder of that. Also, I want to talk about Ethereum for a little bit. Ethereum. So a lot of talks recently about Ethereum going to the moon. To the moon. Like $10,000, $27,000. I don't know, anything higher than that, I haven't heard anyone talk about it, right? Ethereum obviously is moving up. I just got done saying that institutional clients are looking at Ethereum because obviously this number is pretty big, right? So it's going up. Obviously, the price of Ethereum has been going up too. It's now at $1,200, right? But the thing is, the one thing that holds Ethereum back, for those of you guys that aren't aware, Ethereum is not capped like Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin is capped with a supply. It's capped in terms of how much gets produced per day, and it decreases every 4 years. With Ethereum, there is an inflation. It does increase over time, right? In fact, I wasn't sure what that number is. Right now, Ethereum's inflation rate is about 4% a year. 4% a year. Now, when they fully move to Proof of Stake 2.0, then that is going to drop anywhere from 0.5 to 2%. They haven't really set that number yet, but right now it's about 4%. So there is more Ethereum being produced every single year, right? And some of you guys still don't get the fact that you have to multiply the circulating supply, right, by the current price to get the market cap. So people that are expecting Ethereum to go to like, 27,000, 10,000, 15,000, you multiply the circulating supply, the current one, that's not even taking into account the future, and then you times that by the price, and the market cap is in the trillions upon trillions, right? Which means that it is possible, but Ethereum has to be as dominant as Apple and Google and Microsoft. It has to really become a dominant player for that to happen. And by the time that happens, if it does happen, Bitcoin will be probably over $1 million, right? So it is a possibility. Obviously, it's going up in the right direction. But because it's meant to be a utility, it's not meant to be a store of value, right? That means you need to have an insane amount of people that is utilizing it, right? It does need to be a huge Goliath, like an apple, to be able to get up that high. So I just want to explain that right off the bat, right? With that said, can it go up? Can it continue to go up? Can it maybe even outperform Bitcoin in the short term? The answer to all those questions is yes, 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 and yes, right? So just want to explain that. And also what's interesting is I showed you guys the Google search trends for Bitcoin. It's going up, but it's nowhere close to 2017. You know what? If you search for Ethereum, I mean, right now it's not, but it's projected that within the next week, the search volume will be this high. So it kind of shows you FOMO for Ethereum among retail investors is getting to all-time highs. By this time next week, I believe this Google search trend will update and it will be this high, which means that FOMO among retail investors is going to be an all-time high, even compared to January of 2018 when Ethereum was just like skyrocketing up, right? Kind of shows you the difference between Ethereum and Bitcoin. Bitcoin, this is still low because mostly it's institutional adoption. Ethereum right now, obviously some institutional adoption, but a lot of retail FOMO right now. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with retail FOMO, but just want to point that out. So there is a difference there. All right, so while I've been talking, Bitcoin is now above $37,000 once again. It keeps forming new highs. Now these 1,000-point jumps, I hate to say it, they're becoming less exciting because the overall percentage gain is actually decreasing because the dollar amount is so high, right? That is why I said, I think tomorrow, when things clear up, some of the indicators show that short term is a little bit overbought, which is why kind of stopped moving for a little bit. But this time around tomorrow, we could wake up to $39,000, right? So we could even possibly hit 40,000 before the weekend is even here. We could hit 40,000 by Friday, right? So that's how fast things are going right now. And it's just really insane, right? It's really insane. I think some of you guys still hasn't comprehended that it costs $37,000 to buy one Bitcoin, right? When everyone was scared that it could never come up beyond 10,000, then couldn't come up past 14,000, couldn't get past 19,500 or 20,000, right? Think about that and think about where we are now and where we're heading to. We're right at the cusp of hitting $40,000 for a single Bitcoin. 40,000 around the corner next week. You know what? 50, 60,000 the week after that. 80,000 week after that, 100,000. Hey, who's to say we can't hit 100,000 by spring break? The way we're going, you know what? It would not surprise me if that happened. So just want to let you guys know about that. Now, one thing I did want to mention, I was saying to someone in front of in the chat before this started, right? So I want to mention some of these short-term stops. Not that a lot of you guys are trading. Most of you guys I know are buying and holding, right, for a long haul. But there are periods where you notice that Bitcoin just kind of stops, right, or kind of retraces. Just like when I started the stream, Bitcoin went back down to 36.8 or 36.6. Like, why did that happen, right? So some of the shorter term indicators give you an indication of that. Now, I find it funny because most of that is driven by bot activity. You might be thinking, why does this happen? Like, why when RSI is high, it gets sold off? Because the whales are programming their bots to perform certain actions. And those bots are looking at these indicators saying, okay, this is an overbought situation, so I better sell, right? But the bad thing is, the more they do that, the more they lose. Because traditionally, they would do that because once they start selling, it drops the price even more than normally what they're expecting, right? So if it drops more and it keeps going down, then they can rebuy it back and get more Bitcoins. But the problem is when they do that right now, it just gets gobbled up right away. There's really no big breaks, right? The last big one has to be this, when Bitcoin went from like about 30, actually, let's just start here, 34 all the way to 27, right? Obviously, they triggered, let's do a panic sell. Let's cause everyone to panic, right? Now, if this was back in 2018, 2019, if we had this kind of run with this kind of sudden dip, Bitcoin could have fell back down to 20,000. I would not have been surprised if this was in 2018, 2019. This could have just dropped all the way to 20,000. But the reason why it didn't, and the reason why it bounced off right at 30,000 and just came right back up, is because there is so much buying going on right now. The institutions are like, thank you. You want to play your whalish games? I'll take your Bitcoins off your hand. And that's what's happening. Every time the whales try to do this, guess what happens? It just goes right back up within a single day. It's not even lasting days or weeks. It's happening in the same day. So on a very smaller scale, you'll notice that the same thing happened around here. 35, around 35.5, went down to 33. Guess what? Boom, right back up, right? And what happened today? Same thing, just like kept going. So a lot of these whalish games are just basically being negated. I mean, they're being wiped out, right? So there's only so much they can do before they run out of Bitcoin. So I don't know what they're really doing. But what some of these indicators that I'm looking at, some of these indicators that these bots are looking at are like simple stuff like RSI. You could look at it very, very easily. RSI, stochastic RSI. And right now, you can see Bitcoin's I'm on the 1 hour chart. You can see the stochastic RSI topped out. And RSI is about topped out, right? So they're both high, but because of all the darn buying right now, Bitcoin did come down slightly to 36, but then just like boom, right back up, right? So like right now, there's just so much buying going on that a lot of these indicators, they work, but they also don't, because everything is just being gobbled up right now. So these are some of the things I'm looking at. And right now, a lot of them are just going out the window for Bitcoin, because it's just so darn strong. But if you go on a smaller time frames, like like the 15-minute, 5-minute, you can see some of these things happen. For example, stochastic bottomed out here, right? Same thing over here. You can see a little dip over here when this bottomed out, and then boom, went right back up. Every time it's coming up, it goes a little bit higher, right? So I would not be surprised within the next 10, 15, 20 minutes, we actually shoot up, and we shoot up in a big way, maybe even past the previous high of, I think we went as high as 37. Actually, it was right here. It was not too long ago. 37. I can't see that. We were just at 37.4. So within the next 10, 15 minutes, we could see a new high for Bitcoin. That's how crazy it is. Just like every like hour, there seems to be a new one. But anyways, okay, so that's everything I wanted to say. I'll turn to you guys. Said a lot. Open floor for you guys to ask any questions about Bitcoin, altcoins, whatever. Let's do this. Yeah, one thing, Swagmaster. I've been noticing that recently. Because of Bitcoin going up, I see a lot of like people, commenters or like influencers or whatever, now all bragging about they're like a Bitcoin millionaire. That's just, you don't want to do that, right? There's people that is way richer, right? You don't need to do that. Have some class, just don't brag about that. And plus, for your own safety's sake, you don't want to let people know that you have a ton of Bitcoin. That's just a bad idea, right? So, yeah, I've been noticing that a lot more recently. So I don't suggest doing so for many reasons. LeBron, I do not. I do not. There's no Tether FUD DV gains. There is none. How fast we've gone up is not caused by Tether. Tether is at 22 billion market cap. Yes, that's big, but 22 billion is not going to cause the market cap to go up to $1 trillion. That is no longer the case. The Tether is being heavily audited and scrutinized now. So whatever shenanigans they may have pulled in 2017, to cause things to go up, that is not being done anymore. So as far as I'm concerned, Tether FUD is over. Will we see any big corrections? So that's the $1 million question, right? Now, I've been labeled, and I'm okay. I've been labeled as like the biggest bull for Bitcoin, right? A lot of people say I'm too bullish. And on a lot of occasions, that's true. But right now, I'm just looking at what's going on behind the scenes with institutional buying, right? I cannot see that Grayscale clients, right, with their tens of billions, with Michael Saylor with his billion, and all these other companies that have hundreds of millions of billions, I just don't see them doing anything significant. It's not like they're all going to talk and say, hey, let's play whalish games and just drop the market. They're not going to do that. The whales will try to do that. They'll still try to do that. So maybe there is going to be some kind of big dip of correction. But you know what? The last time they tried this, which was not too long ago, just 2 days ago, they lost. They lost big. They lost big. The amount of selling required to make Bitcoin go from 33,000 to 27,000, that's a lot of Bitcoins. You need to place some massive, massive sell orders. Not only massive, you need to add in leverage. You need to just put an enormous amount of sell orders to make this happen. But you know what happened? Like right away, it just started coming right back up. It's almost like an instant V recovery, right? So the more the whales do this, the more they're going to lose. I guarantee you the whales lost on this dip. This shenanigan, I guarantee you they lost more Bitcoins than they gained, for sure. So I don't know if they're going to be gutsy enough to keep trying this. So again, over here, you could see they tried it. Pretty significant dip. And guess what? V-shaped recovery. Not only that, we went even higher, right? So they tried it again. Tried to make people scared that we were a little bit too high. And then look at where we are now. We're at 37,000 and we keep going, right? So I do want to be cautious, and I want to say, yeah, maybe there is a correction. But who knows when it's going to come. And if it does come, who's to say that we're just not going to have a V-shaped recovery right away, right? So that's the thing. And people have been asking me about when to take profits. Right now, I believe is not the time to take profits. Now, if you made a ton already, sure, take some off the table. Take off whatever you feel comfortable, right? Take back your original investments. Those are all sound advice. But for me, I'm waiting for Bitcoin to be past 6 figures before I take any big profits. Even then, I don't even think at 100,000, I wouldn't be taking anything significant. It's not like I need it right now. It's not like I live off of this. So I could hold for basically an infinite amount of years. So, like right now, we're at the cusp of 40,000, right? So from 40,000 to 50,000, that's like nothing, right? But when you're at 50,000, 50 to 75, well, yeah, it's a 25,000 jump, but still, that's doable. Once you're at 75,000, well, 100,000 is doable, right? So once you were at 100,000, we're like, is 150, is 200, is 300 doable? Yeah, we're already in 6 figures. Why not, right? So it's one of those things. I guess when time comes, ask me that question again. Oh yeah, by the way, none of this is financial advice. This is my opinion. This is my opinion on what I'm doing. You guys do what's best for you. Will Elrond be listed by Grayscale? No. I don't even know where you came up with that. No, not anytime soon. Chainlink is more likely to be listed by Grayscale. Well, look at that. Bitcoin formed a new high, 37.5. 15 minutes start turning up. I mean, even though the 1 hour is so high, there's just so much buying right now. Like none of the indicators really mean anything. So, woohoo! So much buying. Bitcoin is already at a new all-time high during this stream. And the overall market cap is still hanging in there, still above $1 trillion. $1 trillion, $1 freaking trillion. So congratulations. Hold on, I'm checking something real quick. This is really insane. I mean, even for me, I think this is really insane, right? Look at that, 37.6. What's my percent in alts? Not very much. I would say less than 10% at this point. Less than 10%. Although, okay, thanks for bringing that up, because I did mention at the beginning of the stream about altcoins, right? I did want to make a special thing, kind of like just a general observation, right? And people have mentioned about this, made me kind of think about it. I think going forward, it's okay to be a little bit more into altcoins. In terms of your portfolio breakup, I mentioned about 75-25. I still think that's a good makeup. And right now, what we're seeing is someone ordered something from my website. Wow. I did not promote that at all. Someone just ordered it, a T-shirt. I should really promote that again. But what I was gonna say, as Bitcoin climbs higher and higher, and I've showed you guys Ethereum FOMO building, right? There's gonna be more people that is looking at Bitcoin and they're gonna say, it's too high. I need to buy something cheaper. That does not mean it's the right decision, but they want to own whole values of something. They rather hold like, I don't know, maybe they rather hold like 30 ETH versus 1 BTC. It sounds more impressive, right? No one wants to go to their buddies and say, hey, I bought Bitcoins. And they ask, okay, how many did you buy? And then they say, 0.005. That doesn't sound very impressive, right? So psychologically, I think a lot of people coming in now, retail investors, they're coming in and looking for bargains. I think that going forward will continue. So you're going to see a lot of altcoins start going up. Expensive whiskey reviews every 10K increase. Hey, if you send it to me, I'll review it. If you're a whiskey consumer, I don't even know how to say it. Consigliere? No. Consumer? Okay, anyways, you get what I'm saying. If you drink expensive whiskey and you have a lot, send me some. I'll test it for you. But yeah, going back to my point, I think altcoins are starting to go up because of that reason. Also, there's a lot of people that are simply taking profits from a Bitcoin. They're like, I made so much. Why not start putting in some altcoins, right? So I think going forward, it's okay to be a little bit greedier with altcoins. I think they're starting to come up, right? But the name of the game is still Bitcoin. The institutions are not going to stop buying it, so Bitcoin is going to go up regardless, really. At this point, it's just going to go up. Institutions will just carry it to the moon. But altcoins are starting to catch up in a very significant way. So I think this could be the start of a shift. Before, I used to talk about how you could notice shifts, right? And right now, you could definitely notice it, at least with a lot of the big caps. Mid caps still kind of struggling. Some are doing better than others, but mid caps still kind of struggling. And small caps definitely still struggling. By the time small caps pump up in a big way, then it's full blown altcoin season. We're nowhere close to that yet. But it's encouraging to see that Ethereum is going up, Cardano, Polkadot, even Stellar, Chainlink. Some of these favorite ones I've talked about, they're all starting to come up in a very significant manner. Same thing with Theta, VeChain, Tezos. I mean, pretty much all the ones I covered before is starting to rise, right? So that's the thing I want to talk about. So going forward, I may cover a little bit more of altcoins. I mean, I'm still BTC maximalist, I guess, by heart, but I understand altcoins can move faster during certain periods. And the benefit of that is it helps you gain on BTC, so your portfolio value in terms of BTC goes up, and that is how you win. Right now, the name of the game is to accumulate as much Bitcoin as you can. It's a race. Everyone's trying to accumulate as much Bitcoin as they can, right? And one way to help you increase your BTC is by picking altcoins that move faster, right? But that's harder than it looks, because there are times where altcoins look like they're moving faster, and all of a sudden they just come to a dead stop, and BTC starts going up to the moon, right? So it's much harder than or sounds. How can grayscale go down even if Bitcoin goes up? Well, that means there has to be massive selling. If grayscale's clients are selling, then it makes sense. Yeah, it can happen, but that's not likely to happen anytime soon, I'll tell you that. Shame, that's not true at all. It's because you haven't been watching. I actually just did 4 segments about nulls, basically week after week after week. So I mean, I hate to call you out, but it's because you haven't been watching. It's not because I haven't been talking about it. I'm drinking cheap stuff. Drinking Miller Lite. All right. So take a look at that. It's just pumping up more. 37.6. Hey, if we stay on long enough, 37.7, we stay on long enough, we're going to hit 38,000. This is pretty insane. This is pretty insane. What are my thoughts on XRP? Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. And I have a special video that explains my thoughts perfectly that I'm going to show at the end of this stream. You don't want to miss that video. It's so good. It's so good. Joe, it has been a hell of a ride. And you know what? The good thing is it's nowhere near close of ending. Is this all-time high for market cap? It sure is. Look at it. Market cap is just going up insanely right now at this point. $1 trillion. Pretty soon it'll be $1.1 trillion. And it's only going up from here. You know, I got to bring up... what's the site? Companies, market cap. Let's see how close Bitcoin is to... to Tesla. So, Bitcoin, as you can see, is right below 10 cent. So close, so close. We can see Bitcoin surpass 10 cent to number 10, and then it'll be right behind Tesla. And maybe by this time tomorrow, Bitcoin will be bigger than Tesla. And look at who's after Tesla. Facebook. Can you imagine Bitcoin being bigger than Facebook? What kind of accomplishment that is? That's insane. But if you look at the overall market cap of 1 trillion, you know, that's already bigger than Facebook, right? That's coming close to Alphabet and Silver. And that's around the corner too. So, man, things are moving so quick. So quick. 37.7, almost 37.8. Leo, I'm sorry, man. I think you're on your own. What do you think big institutions will do when they meet in a few days? The gains they expected in hate long term? Wait, I don't get what you're saying. And why would they sell? They're making money hands over fist. So why would they sell? Boston. Don't be a greedy pig applying this run. No, not until we're above 100,000 in my opinion. On a serious note, I mean, if you if you feel uncomfortable, nothing I say is financial advice. If you feel uncomfortable, and I know people feel uncomfortable, take some off the table. No one loses. No one ever gets hurt taking profits, right? If Bitcoin continues to pump and everything goes up, you might be hurt. Your feelings might be hurt, but you know what? You still made profits. No one ever gets truly hurt from making profits. But in my opinion, what I'm doing is, because I don't need to sell this for a living. It's not like I'm living off of, my Bitcoin holdings. So I could hold. I made a mistake before. There's been many mistakes before where, you know what? I could have picked up more, right? I could have picked up a lot more, but you know what? I was fearful. I had some of that FUD with me. Right now, it's like, no more. This is the last chance. This is really a last chance. It's a land grab, right? There's no more opportunities to get cheap Bitcoins. If you're expecting Bitcoin to go below 10,000 to pick up more Bitcoins at 3,000 or 6,000, forget it. You'll be waiting your whole life and never see that again. This is the opportunity where you need to have super strong hands. It's not like it's hard to have super strong hands when it's going up, but this is the final chance. This is the final land grab. Institutions are buying by billions upon billions every week, right? We as a small fish, we need to just hold strong and accumulate what we can. Otherwise, it's all going to be gone. It's all going to be gone. So that's why I'm holding. I'm holding past 100,000. Ledger versus Treasure. Traditionally, I like Ledger a lot better. And only because I've always, used Ledger, but I can't stand those emails. I can't tell what's a real email and what's a fake email anymore. They really need to get that under control. So that's the only thing that's holding them back. But Ledgers work great. Treasures work great. Just depends on what you're used to. Paulina, I've been waiting for good buying opportunities. Unfortunately, I've been missing them. So to answer your question, no. But I'm always looking. I'm an 18-year-old student in Amsterdam, bought 1.6 Bitcoin, 12K. Do you think I'll buy an apartment in 2021? I mean, you could buy an apartment now, right? Your holdings around 50,000, 60,000. You could probably buy an apartment, depending on where you are. But yeah, I honestly think so. 2021, the way Bitcoin is going now, we could see 100, 150, 200,000 by the end of the year. Your 1.6 Bitcoins is going to buy you way more than an apartment. You could buy a full house, a very nice house, in my opinion. Of course, I could be wrong, but I think that's a real possibility. Can you see Bitcoin getting a 20 to 50% correction? We had a 20% correction. Did you just miss it? We're not seeing a 50% correction. That's just not happening. 20%, we just saw it. We saw it not too long ago. Did you miss this? This going down was 20%. And that just happened 2 days ago. And look at where we are 2 days later. Bitcoin is it's unstoppable right now. I do not use DeFi to buy crypto. Come on. Of course, I don't mean like smack in the middle of the city, right? Like outside the city. The shorters, I just don't get it. The shorters are getting wrecked, completely wrecked. There's no reason to be shorting Bitcoin. That's just being an ultra greedy pig and you're going against the wave, right? Don't do that. If you think it's too high, sell off and wait for a dip. But if you're trying to short Bitcoin now, that is just basically you throwing your money into the garbage or throwing it into a landfill and you lose your private keys forever. That's what you're doing if you're trying to short Bitcoin. That's just ridiculous right at this point. Space Boy, I appreciate that. Yeah, I do preach a lot. I do find I preach a lot, but it's from the heart, as you guys can tell, right? Like, it's like truly believe in this stuff. So hopefully it's been helping you. Man, I've been talking about Litecoin for a long time. Been talking about Litecoin for a long time. All right, you know what? But besides just giving you my opinion, let's just pull up Litecoin's chart. Let's just see what it looks like from a chart perspective. All right, let's zoom out a little bit. So obviously, Litecoin's been going up on a tear, like just like many others, many other altcoins. You know, this is not the chart I want to look at, but yeah, okay, we'll stay here. Obviously, Litecoin did have some pretty tremendous dips recently. Back in November, there was one. Here's one in mid-December. Here's one, you know, but it passed all of them, right? So Litecoin looking pretty good for the last few months, but what about short term? What about, let's look at, you know, I'm in the 4 hour, right? Stochastic is pretty high. RSI is pretty high. So it does look like near term for 4 hours. Does show that not Bitcoin, Litecoin is a little bit overbought, right? So it doesn't mean that it will fall down. It could just mean that it just goes sideways a little bit, right? That's what Litecoin is looking at. And recently, it has been a little bit more non-moving. If you look at the 1 hour, shorter time frame, you can see RSI is creeping up. The price is creeping up, but very, very slowly. Very, very slowly. The stochastic is kind of just bouncing all over the place. So, I mean, short term, it could hover a little bit more until the 4 hour resets, and then you'll probably see a bigger movement from Litecoin, right? And when it resets, you know, like this situation right over here, you could see it go up pretty significantly. And same thing, when it reset here, you saw it go up pretty significantly. So from a chart perspective, that's what it's looking like. And also, let's just bring up for fun, Death Cross, Golden Cross. It's formed golden crosses pretty much on all time frames, so it's okay. Now, that's a chart perspective. From a broader perspective, Litecoin is a store of value. It's forked from Bitcoin, so it is a store of value. So it can be thought of as digital silver. Obviously, a lot of people don't like, including me, that Charlie Lee said he sold his bags, and Mimblewimble will never get done on purpose. But regardless, Litecoin is a store of value. So as Bitcoin goes higher and higher and higher, and people are looking for cheaper forms of store values, the next obvious conclusion is going to be Litecoin, because it's the second biggest store of value out there. So it will become a digital silver. But will it ever surpass Bitcoin? Will it move as fast as Bitcoin? The answer is no. No such thing as overbought. Well, I like to think that too. I like to think no such thing. Look at the market cap, man. The market cap just keeps going up and up and up. We started right at like 1 billion. Now we've gained 1 trillion. We gained another 20 billion within the stream. It's crazy. Where's Bitcoin at? Is that 38,000 yet? No, but still 37.7. That's not too shabby. I do think. Boston, how's your cards? I know you were selling cards on Instagram or something, right? How is it? I got all these graded cards back, but they're all like worthless. They were graded badly, so I mean, it's like, I paid so much for it, waited so long, and I'm kind of disappointed. Now I'm just trying to liquidate all these bad cards, holding the good ones. Kevin, do I use BlockFi or Lend? I'm making good gains and soon will be making more interest than I do as in IT as a senior support specialist. I find that hard to believe that you're making more in interest than you do as an IT senior support analyst per year. Unless you have so much staked in. Maybe. But that seems like an awful lot of interest. But I have not used either. I have not staked anything yet. I like to keep things liquid. And I do have this thing where I don't fully trust all the DeFi companies, because if they go belly up, they get hacked, you don't get to control your crypto, it's gone, right? So I do have that issue. But I do hear a lot of people have very good success staking, earning interest, because they're going to hold anyways. Why not? So I think they're going to stay. They're legit. It's just I haven't used it. Basketball. The money is in basketball and Pokemon, but I know nothing about Pokemon. But basketball cards is where all the money's at. Things are insane. In 2020, Powell did everyone the biggest favor. The stimulus package, the printing, the $4 trillion, right? It really hyperinflated the dollar, which is why everyone sought for things to buy, to hold value. They don't want to see this happen. So you look at assets like stocks. Stocks went up to the moon in 2020. You look at collectibles like Pokemon cards, basketball cards, anything that's a collectible. They shot up to the moon. And crypto and Bitcoin shot up to the moon, right? Did they really shoot up, or did the dollar just get more worthless? See, it's a hard thing to compute. Maybe a little of both, right? But anything that's an asset went up through the roof in 2020 because a lot of people were just looking for things to park their money. They don't want to see their wealth, their buying power decrease, right? Which is why so much assets went up so much. So another reason why not to have a lot of cash on hand. I know the name of the game, people always say cash is king, right? So you have cash so you can buy. That's short term. Long term, you want to put it into something that will appreciate and will hedge against inflation. I think that's key. That's key. You have to find something that doesn't inflate as much as the dollar. Because if it does, then you're just losing out. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. Just pulled a $30 Pokemon card yesterday. Wow. I have no idea about Pokemon cards. My kids are into it, but I have no idea which ones are worth anything. I love basketball, so it's easy for me to pick out basketball stuff. Anyways, I'll let you guys go. Bitcoin continues to be on a tear. We're going to be right at 38,000 probably within the next 5 to 10 minutes. But overall, Bitcoin is forming a new high. Oh, look at it. It's going up. Bitcoin's forming a new high. Seems like every single minute now. And the overall market cap keeps going up. It's at a new high at $1 trillion, which is really amazing if you think about it. To have digital currencies created out of thin air, right? To have $1 trillion worth of value, that's insane. Insane if you think about it. Larry, thank you. So, well, we'll see what happens tomorrow, guys, when we wake up. So thanks for tuning in. Smash up the like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including my stream tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right. I did say, some people asked me about XRP. What are my thoughts about XRP and Ripple? I did say I have a very informative video for you guys. So here it is. Take a look, and then I'll see you guys tomorrow. All right. Have a good night. Bye-bye.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.